Hi, this is the Sangria sisters, and we're here doing a video blog on anxiety today. And with me is my good friend Leslie Sugden.
Hi.
Welcome to Sangria sisters.
Thank you.
How I know Leslie is we used to live together. Well, not together, beside each other. We were neighbors, and I was a stay-at-home mom, day drinking while I was doing chalk drawings on my driveway with my one and only child. All the while, Leslie was giving birth to 3 children at exactly 2-year intervals while she was working part-time and getting her master's degree, which is why I coined her nickname Lazy Leslie.
Welcome, Lazy Leslie.
Thank you.
Thank you,
It's
Val.
stuck because we love that name. So first of all, what are your credentials then, Leslie?
I have a master's in counseling psychology, and I've been a registered psychologist for 14 years now. Yeah. It's a long time.
I've known you a long time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Huh. So how would we start out then? What can you give us an idea or an overview of what anxiety is?
Yeah. So I like to explain anxiety in a story, and I liken it to when we were cave people, or many years ago. Yeah. Because that's kind of where the anxiety started. So anxiety is actually an incredibly important aspect of human nature, and it's actually what kept us alive since caveman days.
Huh.
So if you think about, the other animals back then, not that we necessarily knew them, but, woolly mammoths, all of them, and even today, all animals have a way to protect themselves. They can camouflage themselves, they can fly, they can run really fast, they can climb trees, they can do all of these things. But really, what can we do as humans? We have no protective coating, we can't run very fast. We're kind of cumbersome, actually.
I cry.
Yeah, which doesn't help a lot,
No.
So we don't really have anything that really helps protect us like the other animals in the animal kingdom do. So anxiety, the purpose of it really was initially to keep us safe. So when you when there's a danger or a perceived danger that you face, then your anxiety response will kick in. And the reason for that is to keep you safe. So again, most people have heard the fight, flight, freeze.
Yes.
And that's what anxiety is the fight, flight, freeze. So what happens is, say you saw a woolly mammoth when we were cave women and gathering, and there was a woolly mammoth, and there was Val and Lori and myself all together gathering, and then we see it, and then what can we do, right? We have to make a very quick split decision, because we don't have time to analyze and problem solve and come up with the best solution. We need to act immediately, otherwise we'd be dead, right?
We run faster than Val.
Yes,
Exactly.
Yeah, that would be number one. No, but we have to decide: do we run? Do we flee? Do we think that we can outrun the mammoth or whatever? Do we freeze because we can pretend to look like a bush or something? Fight, flight, or do we fight?
Yeah.
What F am I on? Do we fight? Do I have some sort of a weapon that I could use to fight the woolly mammoth, right? So those 3 decisions have to be made really, really quickly. They're not something that we would analyze and go through all the options. So that's why when we're faced with danger, our brains and our bodies immediately react to something. And we don't necessarily consciously even make that decision. It just happens. And that's our brain doing what it needs to do. So anxiety is really actually very important. We don't want to get rid of anxiety. We want to be able to control and maintain it, and cope with it.
That's a really interesting comment, actually.
Yeah.
Never heard that before. Yeah.
Yeah. So when we're faced with the danger, our brains are set up to shut off the front parts of our brain, which is where we do all our thinking and critical analysis and all of that stuff. And it only activates the back part of our brain, which is like the reptilian brain, the brain stem, which is responsible for our breathing, keeping our heart rate going, just keeping us alive. But it has no thinking ability, it's just the back part there. So that's what's kicking in, because it has to activate the nervous system to do whatever it is we're going to do, to either flee, fight, or freeze, right? So the blood starts going really quickly, our hearts start pounding, we kind of go into a state of shock perhaps or whatever, and that's, it's all to protect us because all the thinking parts getting shut down so that this is being activated so that we can do what we need to do to keep ourselves safe. So that's how it's kind of kept us alive for all of these years. So anxiety is a really great thing until it becomes something that's beyond what is useful for. So what's happening now and what people are struggling with is anxiety is happening even though there's not danger. So, if you're crossing the street and, you see a car coming and you start walking, your brain will kick in quickly and say, and make you run back or make whatever decision is necessary to keep you safe.
Right.
That's important. We need to have that. However, our brains will also have the exact same response if we're asked to do a test, or if we're asked to do something we've never done before, or if we're faced with a situation that we don't feel comfortable with. What's happening is our brains are doing the exact same response, which is what it's supposed to do, but it's way overboard to what is necessary.
Okay.
And so we're not coping with that
Right.
well. And we haven't developed, some of us haven't developed strong enough coping skills to manage it. And that's really what we need to do, is manage the anxiety. And that's why we're having so much struggles, because our brains are perceiving danger when there isn't danger, or you're feeling like it's dangerous even though it's really not dangerous.
Can I ask you, if you have that fight, flight, or freeze mentality, can that be changed, or is that in you from day one?
Yeah, that's innate. Yeah, that's born into us. Yeah.
So you're going to have that your whole life, whether you learn some, you can learn some new skills to actually help with that, but that's going to be your first go-to.
Well, it's going to be depending on how much of the danger is, right?
Oh, okay.
So that's the other part of what people are struggling with, is because if you have immediate, imminent danger, your brain will automatically do that very quickly. But if you have a test, for example, and it's on Friday, and Monday you're a little bit concerned about it, but you don't think much about it, and then Tuesday, a little bit more concerned, but again, you don't do much about it. Then it comes Thursday, and all of a sudden you're kind of panicking because you haven't studied, you haven't done enough stuff, and now you can't study because your brain's too overactive, and you can't sit still, and you're worried, and then you start, praying or something, that miracle will happen, or whatever it is that happens. And then by the time you have to go face the test, your anxiety has increased so much that it's not, you can't cope with it at that point, right?
Okay.
It kind of has taken over.
Down.
Yeah. So if we can recognize our signs and symptoms of anxiety starting early, that's when we have to implement a strategy or a coping mechanism so that it settles it back down. If we don't, then the process continues to go because the anxiety continues to be there.
Right. It's just still ramped up.
Yeah.